Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and a managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing mask guidance here in Thailand, so-called. And I thought of I was thinking about doing this video and then other things kind of popped up and it's been kind of on my back burner. I saw a recent comment, and when I see a comment that's sort of in line with something I'm already thinking of doing, it kind of reinforces my thought that, yeah, it's probably time to do something on that. The recent comment was on a prior video on our channel, quoting directly, "Ben, can you touch on the situation there as it pertains to masks and public transportation? Will they ever drop the mask, and do they expect foreigners to comply? Thanks, Ben." Well, look, people can choose to wear whatever they want, but the fact of the matter is I've been on mass transit here in Thailand multiple times in the past few months, both the Underground and the SkyTrain. There's no mask requirement. Now, a lot of Thai folks are wearing masks. That's their decision. Look, the other thing is I think there's a little bit of a conflation going on here with regard to masks as they pertain to the whole COVID situation and then masks as they pertain to the air here in Bangkok. There are some air issues with regard to the PM 2.5, the dust and all of that good stuff, and then we're in the burn season, which is always loads of fun with regard to air quality. I suspect that there's a little bit of conflation going on here between the issue of COVID masking and the issue of just general masking associated with air quality. So that's first and foremost. But no, I've been on the SkyTrain and the Underground myself in the past week, and I didn't wear a mask, and nobody looked twice at it. It's not a big deal. The Thais, one of the things I love about Thais is it's live and let live. Look, if you want to do what you're doing, do what you do, and they leave you be about it, and I've always liked that. That said, I thought about making this in a broader context because unfortunately this guidance sort of persists. I've actually had this impact people close to me. I won't go any further than that because there's no point, but yeah, there's this kind of persistent sort of guidance, and it's still kind of floating around out there that this is an effective measure and all of this for dealing with this. And quite honestly, let's dig into that, because I just don't think that that's really correct. The first place I want to go real quick, it's Cochrane Library. That's cochranelibrary.com, and the entry is titled "Fiscal Interventions to Interrupt or Reduce the Spread of Respiratory Viruses." This is I believe it's a compilation of peer-reviewed studies that then itself is subject to peer review. So it's sort of like an aggregation of the data on this. And quoting directly here, "Although the benefits of fiscal interventions seem self-evident given the global importance of interrupting respiratory virus transmission, having up-to-date estimates of their effectiveness is necessary to inform planning, decision-making, and policy." I think that's well put. Now, note, that's sort of later on as you get more to the conclusion of this overall treatise, if you will. Quoting from an earlier part of the study, though, specifically under the subheading medical/surgical mask compared to no mask, quoting directly, "We included 12 trials, 10 cluster RCTs, comparing medical surgical masks versus no mask to prevent the spread of viral respiratory illness. 2 trials with healthcare workers and 10 in the community." I state that again. 2 trials with healthcare workers and 10 in the community. This isn't an insignificant thing. And this is worth noting, this quote here, quote, "Wearing masks in the community probably makes little or no difference to the outcome of influenza-like illness, ILI, COVID-19-like illness, compared to not wearing masks. Risk ratio RR 0.95, 95% confidence interval, CI, 0.84 to 1.099 trials, 276,917 participants." I say that again, 276,917 participants. Pretty good sample size. Moderate-certainty evidence. Wearing masks in the community probably makes little or no difference to the outcome of a laboratory-confirmed influenza/SARS-CoV-2 compared to not wearing masks. RR 1.01, 95% CI, 0.72 to 1.42. 6 trials, 13,919 participants, moderate certainty evidence. Harms were rarely measured and poorly reported, very low certainty evidence. So again, I don't know how much more definitive you can get other than a study like this that says, hey, again, I want to quote this again, wearing masks in the community probably makes little or no difference to the outcome of influenza-like virus, like illness, ILI/COVID-19-like illness compared to not wearing masks. So meanwhile, now we sort of know, I guess you could look at it, sorry, I'm kind of sweating here, it's a hot morning. It's been very hot here in Thailand. I'm gonna move over to this article from the Daily Mail. Again, that's dailymail.co.uk. Article is titled, COVID rules are blamed for 23% dive in young children's development. Disturbing study shows scores in 3 key cognitive tests slumped between 2018 and 2021, with face mask rules among possible culprits. And then they have bullet points. I like the Daily Mail because they kind of do this bullet point thing, and then there's the whole article. I urge those who are watching this video, as always, go check out all this stuff in detail. Go read it for yourself. It's interesting stuff. Again, dailymail.co.uk. But down these bullet points, face masks and other social distancing measures may in fact impede on children's development, a new study executed by Brown University has found. The probe analyzed the cognitive development of the youngsters through infancy, childhood, and adolescence. In the study, researchers first analyzed 1,070 assessments administered on 605 kids prior to March 2020 when COVID lockdowns and masking began. A further 154 assessments from 118 kids administered between March 2020 and June 2021 during the height of the pandemic were then carried out. 39 children born in 2018 and 19 were analyzed over the course of the pandemic into 2021. And this is where it gets interesting. The report found that there was a 23% drop in scores measuring kids' intelligence quotients since the start of the pandemic. I say that again. The report found that there was a 23% drop in scores measuring kids' intelligence quotients since the start of the pandemic. Quoting further, the study also found similar dips in the same span in regards to developing children's ability to communicate, both verbally and through subtle facial cues. Yeah, kids learn by seeing people's face. They learn by seeing, that's how they learn language. It's an integral part of it. Now, I'm not a pedagogical expert. I'm not a PhD in education, but you know, there is common sense out there. I mean, this is kind of one of those things that like our grandparents knew implicitly that, yeah, you know, you don't cover your face when you're talking to kids. They need to see your face. You know, that's why you play peekaboo kind of thing is you know, you're hidden and then you're not hidden because kids need to see your face to be socialized, to become acclimated to living in a social environment. So I think at this point, especially in the context of this whole thing, the benefits appear to me to be minuscule to the point of being so discrete that they exist on like a nano level. And some of the costs, especially when you consider a 23%, and I quote, 23% dive in young children's development, that's a pretty big cost. So if we're doing a cost-benefit analysis, I just can't see where one can honestly say that having guidance that really so heavily encourages usage of these things that people almost feel like it's mandatory, I don't think that's a good idea. Doesn't make sense to me from a public health standpoint, from a public policy standpoint, because quite honestly, and based on what we now know, the data just isn't there.